When I play our game and then talk, I'm trying, Jennifer.
Rip City, what's up? We're back. We missed a couple, I don't know, 2 weeks. I had to go on a little business trip and didn't feel like recording down in Florida. So first, before we even jump into this, Fawad, you're here with me tonight. How are you doing?
I'm good. I've had a very busy last week, 10 days. So now today, tomorrow, today and tomorrow basically are my kind of off days before it gets busy again. So just relaxing. I got a new car yesterday, which is my very first car, so I'm excited about that. Overall, just in a pretty good mood, even though I am definitely very tired.
Is it a brand new car or just new to you?
New to me. I got it used, but it was kept in like amazing condition. So it's as close to new for a used car as you can probably get. And I got a really good value for it too. The guy was kind of he was a little bit rich, so he didn't really care about the money too much. So
Those are the best kind.
Yeah, he gave me a good deal on it.
What kind of car is it?
So it's a 2017 Chevy Volt, which is a plug-in hybrid.
Yep.
So yeah, for about 80 kilometers, I can go without any gas whatsoever. So that's exciting. It's perfect for commuters.
Living that EV life.
Yep. I got in Ontario, they give you a green license plate, so I got that.
Oh, if you have an EV car, you get a green license plate?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what you get here if you have an EV car. You get eggs thrown at you because you're a hippie. I'm kidding. A lot of those electric vehicles are actually pretty cool. But I mentioned I went to Florida for a business trip, so I'm just going to start this off by saying this. Why the hell would anyone want to live in Florida? It is so damn hot. So hot. Like miserable hot. I went to Tampa. That's where I had to go for work. And I'm telling you right now, my first day there, 4 showers. That's how many showers I took the first day because I was sweating so much. No matter what I did, I was sweating. I'll tell you right now, if you are a AC unit repairman, you need to move to Tampa because the amount of AC units that get broken and have to be repaired, that's the place to go make your money. So I don't know why the hell Dame wants to go to Miami. Maybe Miami's a little less humid than Tampa, but I'm telling you, when I say this, like, you wake up at 6 a.m. and it's 80 degrees outside already, but it's humid, so it's like 95 degrees at 6 a.m. And then it just gets hotter and hotter and hotter. And then by midday, it's like 95 degrees outside, and then the humidity makes it like 110. I mean, it's miserable.
You like disgusting.
Oh, it was so bad. Like I didn't want to leave the hotel. I was like, the people I was with was like, let's go do this, let's go do that, and I'm like, no, I'm just gonna melt, and I'm gonna be sweating the whole time, and I'm gonna be miserable. And the people I went with went and got in the water. For those of you that know Tampa, there's a place called Clearwater, and that's a pretty popular place for people to go. So we went to Clearwater, and they have a beach there, and the beach is really nice, and it's got like white sand and everything. And then you go try to get in the water, and the water's 85 degrees. So it's like you try to go in the water to cool off, and it's like just as hot as it is outside. It's miserable. So I don't know why the hell Dame wants to go to Miami. I don't know what he wants. That is way too hot. Rant over. Tampa's hot, but Tampa's very nice. I will say, extremely nice city, but oh god, it's so hot. I don't ever want to go back. So, obviously, we're talking about Florida, talking about Miami, Tampa. The heat. There we go. Tie it all in. The last episode we dropped the bomb that Dame had requested a trade, and we didn't really go into too much because it was pretty new news, and we didn't really have a lot to go off of. And here it is 2 weeks later, and we still don't have a lot to go off of.
Not much has changed.
Yeah, I mean, he still has not been traded. He's still his agent. I'm going to get into a couple things, but his agent, is saying The rumor is that Dame doesn't want to go anywhere else but Miami. He won't play. He'll sit out if he goes anywhere else. He doesn't want to play for any other team but Miami, which is just crazy to me. So we're gonna open all this up. We're gonna get into it. So first things first. What's your, now that you've had 2 weeks to kind of sit and think about it and hear everything, what's your thoughts on it? Like, how are you feeling now? Do you feel worse, better? What's up?
I'm kind of just numb to it, and I've also been kind of actively ignoring it on purpose just because I feel like the conversation around Dame being traded is so like every thread I look at is like just toxic. So I've kind of been, I've
So
just been,
bad.
yeah. Normally I don't do this, but I've just been looking at headlines, and that's basically it. Um, I think I'm happy in a sense. I'm happy in that I'm very excited for Portland next year. With Scoot and Sharpe, we didn't get to see much of Scoot, but I'm like the more I think about it, just I think that lineup is going to be really good. It'll be really fun to watch. Um, and I don't remember if I said this last time, but I think if we don't actively try to tank, I think we can even have a outside shot at the play-in tournament. So I think like that the team can be that good if Jeremy Grant, actually tries. If he takes a little bit of a jump and Scoot is as advertised, like I think that can be a really, uh, a really good team. But on the Dame side of things, it's been a little bit annoying to say the least.
Yes.
I'm a huge Dame fan. We've said this a million times. Like Dame, Dame is my favorite player in the NBA. Probably my favorite player of all time. I've wanted him to go to Miami for a couple months now. But the way that this is all going down just kind of leaves a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. I'm not as anti Dame as some people still are, but this constant like Miami and no one else is kind of getting a little bit annoying, and it's like clear that he's kind of using his agent to do his dirty work while like maintaining like plausible deniability because it's not him, it's his agent slash rumors saying that. So like I'll still consider maybe a little bit of that is true, and I'll give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. But I think ultimately I think that's likely what he is saying. And it's one thing to, request privately that like I only want to go to Miami. But all this public stuff is, you know, it's a little bit annoying. Um, and also the other thing is like Miami can't even make their package that much better. So I don't know, like I just don't know the point of it because I mean I guess I get the point from Dame's side because if he's trying to make the other packages worse, but like I feel like I don't know. It's so unnecessary drama. Just like first of all,
Well, I mean, you said it. You said, that he's not saying anything. He's letting his agent do all the talking, right? To kind of make it seem like he's not the one doing all
Mhm.
this, right? How many times have we seen in the past where all these rumors come out and then Dame himself comes out and says, "No, this is not true. No, I want to be here in Portland. I'm not leaving." Like we see that all the
Exactly,
time,
yeah.
right? And all of a sudden it's just radio silence and there you don't hear anything. And all you hear every day, Dame only wants to go to Miami. Dame refuses to play anywhere else. And you don't ever hear Dame come out and say, "No, that's not true." None of that. He stays silent now, which makes you believe this is him saying what's happening. And I get it. I get why people are annoyed. I get it. We did a poll on the last episode. I want to bring this up real quick before I forget. We did a poll on the last episode. We had a couple people respond on it. So we said, "How do you feel about Dame asking out?" And 62% of the votes went to about damn time. So, I mean, people are kind of okay with the idea, accepted the idea, and they're ready for it, and they're glad it's finally happening. And then it looks like 37% said it is what it is, and that's kind of how I feel. I kind of feel like it's on both of those spots for me. Like I'm glad it's finally over, and let's just move on. But it also is like it does kind of suck, but it is what it is. And if he gets traded, he gets traded. If he doesn't, he's still here.
I think if we
Um,
asked again, there would be a
so
little bit more animosity than when we did ask.
Yeah, I think once Dame gets traded, I think that's when we're gonna start seeing it.
Oh,
Like once it actually does
the week
happen.
that it happens will just be brutal. Like Dame needs to stay away from social media because he'll be roasted constantly. So that week is gonna be bad.
Well, and let's be honest. Lately, Dame's been going like, this is another thing. It's just annoying, and it's getting old. And him going live and having that Miami song playing in the background, and like all these little like innuendos to what he's wanting to do. And then apparently he liked a tweet that he didn't mean to like, talking about Jody selling the team and Phil Knight buying the team, and and then he had to go on live and say I accidentally liked it. Like whether he did or not, I don't care. I don't care whether he liked that tweet or not. I think 99.9% of Blazer fans wants Phil Knight to buy the team and wants Jody Allen to sell the team. So who cares if he liked the tweet or not? I mean, I'm sure if it came down to it, if he had the choice of staying and competing in Portland or going to Miami, I still think he would pick staying here. But at this point, I think he knows it's not going to happen, and I think we all can accept that it's not going to happen. So let's just move on. Who cares? Like people were making that such a big deal that he liked that tweet. Like that meant Phil Knight tomorrow was going to come and buy the team because he liked that tweet. Like it's just the fact that he even had to go on live and explain why. Like it just Twitter's a weird place. But I did want to give a shout out to C. Walton 1968 on Spotify, and I want your opinion on this. He said, this is regarding Dame asking out on our last podcast. He said Cronin knew on Monday when he met with Lillard. I feel Cronin misled us the last 2 years. We have not been dedicated to winning since Cronin took over. Cronin's PR image took a huge hit in the public forum. So before I turn it over to you, I get what he's saying. I do, because we've heard for 2 years now, we want to build around Dame. We want to try to compete, all these things. And yet we used the seventh pick on Scoot and Sharpe. We used the third pick on Scoot. Now, the only thing I can say to this is the only thing I can say, is we don't know what kind of offers were being offered for both of those picks. I mean, if they're terrible offers, then of course using the pick is the right choice. Now, what offers were out there, we will never know. I don't think we'll ever know what offers were out there. You can hear rumors, and you don't know if it's true or not, but I don't know. I mean, I get it. I get why people feel like he's been lying to us, and I get why Dame's mad, and I get why everyone's a little frustrated. But at the same time, Scoot and Sharpe look to be like very, very, very good players with high upside and high potential. So if we're going this rebuilding route, then we should be glad that Cronin went that route. So how do you feel about what C. Walton said?
I think for the most part, I think I agree. I don't know about the PR hit part. Like I don't know how much other people care, but I do think the part about him misleading us for the last 2 years is true, because I do think I feel like his goal since he's got promoted, became GM, whatever, he's been prioritizing rebuilding over building, with Dame.
I agree.
The thing, so I thought that for a while, that he's, for lack of a better word, lying to us. But what I thought was that I thought Dame understood behind the scenes that like that was going on. They were kind of just, naturally working together, even like this whole season, towards like a friendly exit, or like both understanding they got to go their separate ways. Like one wants to rebuild, one wants to compete. I thought Dame was aware of that, but because of how much bad blood there seems to be with the way this is going down, I'm wondering if maybe he did mislead Dame as well, and tell him that he convinced him that he did want to build around him, but he actually didn't. Whatever, all that, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. It's just it's surprising to me how messy this exit is. I thought it would have been a lot smoother, a lot friendlier. Yeah, ultimately, I do think that his goal since the second he got hired has been to rebuild. I think almost all of his moves have been either acquiring future assets, or
Yep.
or drafting young guys, except for getting Jeremy Grant. But all he gave up in that one was a Bucks 2025 pick, I think. Yeah, everything else was
Yep.
either making us worse like now, like in this season, or acquiring future assets. So I think his goal has always been to rebuild. I think he's trying to pull a Sam Hinkie. Shoot, I'm forgetting the OKC GM's name. I think Sam Presti. He's trying to follow their footsteps with just accumulating as many picks as possible. So yeah, I don't think he ever genuinely wanted to go all in. So that on that part, I agree for sure. In terms of taking a PR hit, I don't know. Like, I think it might be a while until we find out how other GMs or other people feel about him. But I feel like from what I've seen, the fans haven't turned on him yet, which actually did surprise me a little bit. But I guess it makes sense too. And then in terms of other GMs, it doesn't really matter what they think of him anyways, unless they're like refusing to trade with him or something. But anyways, long story short, yeah, I do think he misled us, possibly misled Dame, and I think he wanted to rebuild the entire time.
Well, and like you said, since he's been there, he's been acquiring future assets, young assets, and I mean, look no further than trading Norman Powell, Robert Covington for Keon Johnson and a second round pick, and then trading CJ and Larry Nance for the only player that really was worth stating, Josh Hart, and a first round pick, and then we let Josh Hart go, which I think most people understand that he wasn't going to re-sign with us most likely. So letting him go and getting a first round pick out of him was worth it. But I mean, those right there are signs of a rebuild, not a sign of competing.
Yeah, but I don't want to get into this too much because it's like water under the bridge. But I feel like he would have re-signed if the goal was that we were building a contender. But I think that never was the goal. That's why he might not have. But I think that if we genuinely intended to build a good team, then he would have stayed. That's just my two.
And that's very possible, and it would make sense. And I'm sure having Josh Hart, having Jeremy Grant, trading that third pick and for someone for a more established player, those are moves that Dame would be happy with. But instead, you lose Josh Hart, you use the third pick on a rookie that's essentially his replacement. You don't move Simons, you don't trade the seventh pick the year before. Like, it's just all signs just showing that you're trying to stock up on young talent and look to the future instead of looking to the here and now when you have a top 75 NBA player. What a lot of people say is the greatest Blazer of all time. It just sucks. It sucks. I understand Dame's reasoning. I understand Cronin's reasoning. I think most of us are on the side of Cronin at this point, that it's just time to start over. And there's nothing wrong with that. The issue that I think both of us are having, though, is just the way Dame's going about it, which is crazy because it's not something we've ever, like, you would have never 2 years ago, you never would have questioned like the way Dame would go about something. But it just seems like it seems so backwards what he's doing. Like, people keep bringing up he said he'd never do a super team, thing, and like Paul George saying the thing about running from the grind and then going to wanting to only go to the Heat and all this stuff. And it's like, to an extent, I get it. But also, Dame has also been on record numerous times saying all he wants to do is have a chance at competing. Like, as long as the Blazers are trying to compete, he wants to be here. And clearly, we're not trying to compete. I think it's pretty clear we're not. So we can't like be shocked that this is happening. And while I don't necessarily like him saying I only want to go to Miami, and it being so public where it's making a lot of other things hard, and saying I'll sit out if it's not Miami, which I'm gonna be on. Let me ask you right now, Fawad, if he gets traded to another team, let's say he goes to any other team that's not Miami,
No.
You think he's sitting out? I don't think so either. There's no way. That's not like saying like this. Him asking out is not him is totally different story than saying he's just not going to play basketball. Like everything that he has worked up to this point would be completely ruined if he pulls this. I'm not going to play. I'm going to sit out for the next 3 years. Like, I mean, what is he going to do? He's going to sit out for the next 3 years? if he goes to Oklahoma City or if he goes anywhere else, Boston, anywhere, he's just going to sit out. Like that's just stupid. There's no way that's happening. The whole thing. I mean, we could spend hours talking about this. The whole thing is just crazy.
Yeah.
And depressing.
Yeah, well said.
Is there? I mean, like I said, we can sit here and we can go forever and talk about all the issues we have and what we think could happen. But it's like, at this point, we just have to let it happen. Like, it's like you said, I'm tired of getting on Facebook, getting on Twitter, and just seeing all these people losing their minds about Dame asking for a trade, or all these Miami Heat fans saying, "Why is Portland not trading us Kyle Lowry for Damian Lillard?" Like, wait, come on, he must come here. Like, it's getting so old, dude. Like, I can't. Someone in Discord today, give me 1 second. I'm gonna say who it is. It was Otis. Otis posted in Discord about the possibility of trading Dame for Jaylen Brown. You already know that I'm a massive Jaylen Brown fan, but at that point, if we're trading Dame for Jaylen Brown, it doesn't make sense. As much as I like Jaylen Brown, trading Dame for Brown just, to me, doesn't make sense anymore. I mean, yes, he's younger, but at that point, we're starting over, and I don't think trading Dame for Brown is worth it. So, to me, if we're trading Dame, it's truly to start over. I don't see, the only thing I could see is getting like a very, very young star player, which wouldn't make sense if you're trading Dame to a team. They're going to want to keep those star players too. So I think we're just looking at first round picks. Speaking of picks, I saw this trade. Who knows if it's true? It's just a rumor. But the most recent trade that I've seen from Miami, which is because it seems like that's the only place that trade rumors are coming out for, was Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Jovic, 4 first-round picks, 3 first-round pick swaps. I have no idea where all these picks are coming from because I don't believe the Heat have these many picks.
2?
But I thought they had
3
first-round picks.
So now, yeah.
Okay, so now they have 2. Okay. So whether this is true or not, if this is true, to me, that's a trade that I would take. You get 4 first-round picks, you get 3 first-round swaps, so that's essentially 7 picks right there. And then you have Tyler Hero. You can decide if you want to keep Tyler Hero and move Simons, or if you want to trade Tyler Hero for something else. Duncan Robinson is just cap filler. Once his contract is gone, he's gone. And then you have Nikola Jovic, who is a young guy who has potential, and that's a player that maybe we keep in a couple years. But to me, anything under I would say 4 firsts for Dame is not enough. Like 3 maybe depending on what team it is, but like this 2 first round picks and the pick swaps, like that's a terrible. I don't care about Tyler Hero. Like that's just a terrible value for Dame. And I will say this, I'm glad that Joe Cronin isn't just rolling over and taking the first trade that got offered to him from Miami. He's made it clear that he is willing to wait, whether that's the truth or a lie or just, posturing to try to get a better value. I guess we'll find out here soon. But I mean, what, in your opinion, what's a good value for Dame?
I think Dame's value is lower than what a lot of Blazers fans think. He just turned 33. He has, I think, 4 years left on his deal. And he'll be making like, sorry. Oh my God, what just happened to me? He'll be making like, I think, 60 million in the last last 2 years of his contract. So like, that's a lot of money for an undersized guard who's not a good defender, who's also 33 years old. Like, I do think his game will age well, but like 33 is 33, like that's like 10 years ago, that's the end of your career basically for almost every player in the league. So he is definitely near the end of his career. Even though his game will age well, he's going to be making 60 million as an undersized point guard, which I don't think a lot of teams are looking for. Definitely like rebuilding teams, I think they have no interest in Dame. And then playoff teams, how many of them can,
Mhm.
how many of them can afford to get Dame and still stay competitive? And like a lot of like contending teams don't even have 4 picks available. So I think the market for Dame is not that big. Um, and I genuinely think that Miami's best offer, which would be, the 2 picks, Jovic, their rookie this year, and then I think they have like 1 or 2 other decent young guys. I think like Haywood Highsmith, if he's tradable, which I think he is. And then plus all their pick swaps. Like I think that's pretty close to one of the best offers you're gonna get. It, I get it. It doesn't look appealing on paper, but you can flip Hero for at least 1 pick, possibly 2 from, 2 or even 3 from what we're hearing from Brooklyn. Um, was 3 what we heard from Brooklyn or 2? I don't know. One of the two. Might have been 2. Yeah.
I
So
think it
1 or 2
was 2.
picks from Hero as well. I think that's pretty close to the best package you're gonna get. I think Toronto is a team that I think can offer a better package, but again, they're in a position where they
Mm.
really, it
Mm.
doesn't make sense for them to. They're not like that's not gonna put them over the top. Getting Dame, like even if they like, first of all, they're not gonna part with Scotty Barnes, but for argument's sake, let's say they did. Like Dame, Siakam, and who's left? What's their center? Forgetting his name. Pirtle, yeah, Dame, Siakam, and Pirtle. That's not winning you a
Pirtle.
championship. That's a decent big three, but they already had no depth. I guess, yeah, but
Yeah, you got
I
OG
mean,
there too.
maybe OG would be included in that trade too. So who knows? But like that, they already had no depth this year, and they were playing their starters like 40 minutes and still couldn't make the playoffs. Like if you throw Dame on and get rid of probably two rotation players, that team's like just barely gonna make the playoffs. They're not contending. So Toronto has no reason to make that deal if they're not gonna be contenders after. So I think that same situation applies to a lot of teams where on paper they might have a lot of assets, but they have no real incentive to make a big trade if it's only gonna move them up like 3 spots in the standings. So that's why
Yeah,
they
I
have
feel like
for sure.
Toronto's kind of screwed
I think they
themselves over
still
these last couple
they're in
years.
a okay enough position that they can recover, but I think they definitely made a couple mistakes along the way. But yeah, I think just just
Hmm.
to sum up, for all those reasons, I
Um,
think the market for
Go
Dame is
ahead.
a lot lower than what people think. 4 picks, I think, would be the absolute best case scenario in my opinion. I think it's very likely that we'll probably get 3.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think three is what we should expect.
that's where I kind of am at. As I would love to have 3 or 4, but I don't think. I think 3 is going to end up being where it's at. A couple other teams that there's been rumors of interest for Dame would be OKC. Utah had
Don't
some
get it.
rumors coming out about
I
Utah
heard
possibly doing that.
doesn't make
Uh,
any sense to me.
I don't understand Utah, but I guess yeah. Um, there was rumors about Boston, and I don't think those rumors
Right.
included Jaylen Brown. I think it was more like I want to say it was like Robert Williams and um, Pritchard and some first round picks. So it wasn't Jaylen Brown in those rumors. And then obviously there was the rumors with Toronto. And I feel like there was one more, and I'm
See,
drawing a
and that's
blank on
another
who
thing
it
you have
was
to consider
besides
though. Like
Miami.
Boston will probably happily give up 4 picks. I would take 3 picks from pretty much any other team in the league over Boston's 4 picks. 'Cause Dame and Tatum,
Yep,
that's gonna
yep,
be a contender
I
every
would
single
too.
year. They're not picking.
And Tatum's still young enough. And if Jaylen Brown somehow wasn't included in those, like Tatum and Brown are
Still be
still good
pretty
enough
good.
that in
Yeah,
2027,
yeah.
2028, those picks are still going to be late round picks. So I feel like Boston's not like doesn't have a chance at us trading Dame unless something crazy happened. I swear there is one
Did you
more and I'm
mention Brooklyn?
forgetting it. And I know as soon as we end this podcast, I'm going to remember it.
Yeah, I think
I don't
those will
think it
be
was
down
Brooklyn,
low.
but I mean, there was those rumors of Brooklyn.
I do too,
I
but
honestly almost think
yeah,
I like
I
Brooklyn
do
out
too.
of all of them. Like the package we could get. But they're rumors. Who knows if they're even true? Like we said a little bit earlier, and time will tell what happens. I don't see Dame sitting out wherever he goes, even if he ends up staying here. I don't see him sitting
Yeah.
out. He's big on legacy and leaving. To sit out
Really
just
quickly
doesn't
on
makes
Brooklyn, just
absolutely
in
no
like
sense to me.
one or
But
two sentences.
who knows?
I think I agree. I think their package is probably my favorite, assuming they're willing to give something up. Like if Claxton and like 3 picks, I'm happy with that. But
Yeah, it's
again,
got to be Claxton. Yeah.
I don't know if they are willing to do that because if they get rid of Claxton, that's just pretty much Dame, Cam Johnson, and Mikal Bridges. So if they think that's a contender, they might be willing to make that trade. But if they don't, then
Mhm.
that might not be on the table to begin with. So you don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Let's quickly touch on the summer league before we wrap this up. For those of you that didn't get to watch the summer league, I watched almost all the games. I think I only missed the last game on Sunday. Um, first things first. Obviously, Scoot Henderson, unfortunately, pulled a little bit better version of a Shaden Sharpe, and about 3 quarters into it, hurt his shoulder and was out the rest of the game, and then ended up just being out the rest of the summer league. But those first 3 quarters, you could tell why he was, highly touted as being one of the, a number one pick in almost any other draft. Um, a lot of people are saying that uh, Charlotte really messed up taking Brandon Miller, although I don't think they did. I think Brandon Miller is going to be a good player, and I think it's just a bad summer league. And actually, it wasn't even that bad. As the summer league went on, it got better for him. But Scoot is definitely, you can tell he is definitely going to be one of those players that can be a cornerstone for a franchise. Um, defensively, he was getting his hands in everything. Offensively, he hit a couple step backs. He was getting to he was driving into the lane easy. He was playmaking pretty well. He was doing everything well. So unfortunately, we only got to see 3 quarters of him, but the 3 quarters was pretty promising. And for those of you that don't know, we did not make the semifinals because I don't even know who the guy was in the first game against Houston. But with like 8 seconds left, instead of just dribbling the ball out or getting fouled and shooting free throws, he tries to throw an alley oop that goes out of bounds with like 0.6 seconds left, and Jabari Smith hits pretty much a half court shot to beat us by 1 point, or maybe two. I can't remember if we were up by 2 or not. And that was our only game we lost besides the last game, which we didn't play anybody. So we probably would have made the semifinals and the finals again to try to be back to back. But whoever that dude was, I guess he had other ideas. The other thing I wanted to add real quick on the summer league, I know Fawad said he didn't get to watch too much of it, so watching Shaden Sharpe, like he looked like an NBA player. Like you could tell, like there was a significant difference in Shaden Sharpe and pretty much everybody else that was out there. And I will go on this podcast right now and say that Shaden Sharpe within the next 3 years will be an all-star. That dude, he's got what it takes to be an all-star, and I am willing to say within the next 3 years he's going to be an all-star. And especially if we move Dame and he becomes more of a focal point. That dude he's special. He can do. For those of you that didn't get to watch, you missed out. He is just a highlight reel. He can pull up and hit shots. He can create for himself. He can rebound. Shaden Sharpe is going to become a lot of players' favorite, or a lot of people's favorite player for us.
I
Was
was
there
really
anything you
busy
wanted to add
the
on
whole
for the
week,
summer
so I
league?
caught like half or a little bit more than half of one game. But I was looking at the numbers after pretty much every game, and I just want to shout out. Again, these are just the numbers. I didn't watch all of them, but Jabari Walker seemed almost consistently good in every single game. And last year, pretty much
Yep.
any time he got more than a few minutes, he was playing
Yep.
well. So I'm really excited about him this season. If he gets big minutes off the bench, I think he can make I think he can have impact. I think he'll be a really good player. I'm very excited for him.
I do too. and he improved his 3-point shooting. Like in the summer league, he was shooting much better than he was last year. So that's encouraging. Was there
Honestly,
anybody else
no,
you
I
wanted to shout
don't. I
out?
don't think there was one guy. But he's not on the Blazers, right? So I wasn't paying
There
too
was
much attention. I forgot his name.
there was yeah, there's
Yeah.
one guy named, I
Oh,
think his last name was Devo, I think is what it was. And a lot of people got really excited on him because he scored like 23 one game. Um, he kind of just reminds me of, like, honestly, like he's just a scorer is what he is. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. And he's probably going to get picked up by a team. I don't see us keeping him, but he wasn't bad by any means. I don't think he fits what our team's trying to do. So I think he could develop into a decent player, but like a lot of people were losing their minds after he scored 23 points or whatever it was and saying how we needed to sign him right now. And it just, for one thing, we're so guard heavy. We don't need another guard. So shout out to Devo. I mean, he looked good. He scored pretty easily. He's left-handed, so that always throws me off every time I see someone shoot left-handed. But I mean, he could score easy. So shout out to him. And then, like you said, Jabari Walker looked great. It kind of reminded me of like what Trenton Watford looked like and how excited we were with Trenton Watford. And now it's like I still don't fully understand why we got rid of Watford, but Jabari Walker's going to plug in just as well as Trenton Watford did for us. Yeah, there's still a couple players that I'm like Christian Wood.
Wow.
He's still not signed. So I mean, he's like getting the vet minimum from a couple teams. So it's like I don't know what's going on, but like he's going to end up going to the Lakers for the vet minimum. We already know that's how it works. A player that's worth more money than that, but no team is willing to give him a little bit more money, he goes to the Lakers for the vet minimum. So I mean, we know that's going to happen. It's just crazy. That's a very good player, and I don't know how he's not being signed.
That's pretty much all he can do. And with big men, like you need to be a good defender to keep your minutes. Yeah, for a veteran. Yeah, and they were not.
I mean, so who did he play for last year? The Mavericks? Yeah. I mean, when I say very good player, I mean like he's like a player worth having on a roster. That's at least a competitive team that can make an impact at some point. It's still crazy to me that he's not signed when you got DeAndre Jordan on the Nuggets. And
it's basically what he said. I think
you don't have Christian Wood on someone's team. It's just crazy.
But he wants like 15. If no one's gonna give him 15, he'd rather just take a vet.
Yeah, he wants more.
I think that's probably what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Did you have anything else you want to add before we get to the poll question? Okay, so here's our poll. For those of you that are still with us, we were supposed to have a very special guest, one that has not been on the podcast in I don't even know, a long ass time. And he could not stay awake, I'm going to assume. And I don't blame him. It's probably 4:00 in the morning for him right now. But Mike was supposed to be on here. So shout out to all you OG people that listened to us when we first started. Mike was with us. Mike lives in Portugal. So there is a massive time difference between Fawad and I. So shout out to Mike. He said he wanted to come on and talk. So hopefully, he can make the next one and we'll talk a little bit with him. But we have another poll. So once again, if you guys are listening on Spotify, scroll down to the bottom of the episode, vote on the poll. And like C. Walton did, you can also leave comments on them if you want. So here's the poll. And it's pretty simple. What's going to happen with Dame? Is he going to get traded to Miami? Does he get traded to any other team in the NBA? Does he not get traded at all and plays for Portland? Or does he sit out like he claims he's going to do?
I think he
so Fawad, what's
Miami.
your take on this?
Like if I had to rank them, I think that's my number one. And I think it'll happen after their rookie is eligible to be traded. I think they have to wait 30 days. I think sometime after he's eligible, he'll be traded. But my second one after that would be, I think there's a better chance that he's not traded by the start of the season. Similar to who did that years ago? Yeah, it might have been Harden. Yeah, I think it might be like that kind of thing, and then he's
James
traded around
Harden.
like November, December, like a couple of weeks in. So yeah, I would go Miami, then not traded, and actually, I don't know if he's not traded. I kind of feel like he would play. Actually, I don't think he would sit out. So I might actually go with that. So I know the poll only asks for one, but I'll just rank them anyways. So I think it's gonna go Miami, then plays for Portland, then anywhere else, and then he sits out.
I mean, I'm right there with you. I think what's going to happen is he's going to get traded to Miami at some point, whether it's tomorrow, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months, start of the season, 2 weeks into the season. Like at some point, he's going to go to Miami. That's just how it's going to be. Whether that's a 3-team trade, a 4, 5, 6-team trade, like it doesn't matter. He's going to go to Miami at some point. I don't see him going anywhere else. So then my next one would be that he stays in Portland. And then I even see less that he sits out. So that to me isn't even on the list for what's going to happen. So
Yeah, sitting out was just
I
empty
just
threats. I think
I
no
don't
one
see how
thinks
it's not going to
he's
be
actually
Miami
gonna
at
do
this
that.
point. Yeah.
Nope. I think
Okay.
the
Do you
next
have anything
big
else?
thing is a training camp in September. So we have about a month and a half, 2 months, probably closer to 2 months actually, of you know slow
Yeah.
news. Actually, no. When Dame is traded, that'll be news. But nothing, no specific date to look forward to. So I guess we'll just
Yeah.
yeah, I guess we'll just keep talking about
Yeah, we're in
Dame
the
being
dog
traded
days
until
of
he
off
actually
season right
is,
now.
or I don't know. Let's try to think of something. Yeah, that's
We'll come up with stuff, and then also I know we want to do another listener podcast. So if you guys are listening, still get yourself ready if you want to come on the podcast and talk and come up with some stuff, and we'll get that going. But other than that, I think that's going to do it for tonight. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure to vote on the poll at least. And as always, Rip City, baby. Thanks to My Life Pursuing for the music used on the intros and the outros of this podcast. You can check them out on all major streaming platforms at My Life Pursuing.
I'm trying, Jennifer.